Hello everyone, welcome to the new session of Living World Exercises. Okay, so today we are going to solve the questions from the Living World NCERT book, right? So let us take the first question here in the exercise. The first question is, why are living organism classified? Okay, what is the significance of classifying the organism in the living worlds? So the solution is, a large variety of plants and animals and microbes are found on the earth. Okay, so till date, today we are having 1.7 to 1.8 biodiversity on our earth. And all these living organisms differ in their size, shape, color, habitat, and many other characteristics, right? So all the organisms are different in respect of their size. Okay, some are smaller, some are large. Shape, okay, the shape of organism is also different, right? Color, there are organisms of the different colors. Okay, habitat, their habitats are different. Some organisms live in the deep sea, some organisms live at the surface of water, some organisms live in the ocean, some in the sea, some in the fresh water like rivers, ponds, lakes. Okay, so the habitat of the organism is different for the aquatic organism. Now moving to the land. Okay, we see the different landforms on the earth, and they are having the different organism living there, and many other characteristics. Not only these characteristics, there are some other characteristics as well on which the classification, or you can say different organisms we see, and on which we classify them also. So as there are millions of living organisms on the earth, studying each of them is quite impossible, right? If you want to study to 1.7 to 1.8 millions of organism, how much time it will take, and how much time you will remember that, okay, this organism I have studied and it is having these characteristics. It's very difficult, right? So the scientists have devised a mechanism to classify all the living organisms. So what they have done, they have classified all the living organism to make our study easy. Okay, to make our study easy. Therefore, these methods of classifications are based on the rules and principles that allow identification, nomenclature, and finally classification of an organisms. Right? So these methods, okay, these methods of classification, whatever the methods of classification that scientists have been adapted, that, okay, so that is based on the rules, certain rules and principles that allow, okay, some of the rules and the procedure is given here. So they have to identify the organism. Number one, identification. They have to give a specific name to those organisms, nomenclature, right? And finally, classification of an organisms. So, for example, based on certain principles, once an organism is identified as an insect, this is taken as an example here. So, suppose you have identified an organism as an insect, it will be given a scientific name and then grouped with their other similar organisms, right? So you will note down the characteristics of that particular organism. You see that organism, you identified that organism, you wrote down some of the characteristics which you see on the basis of the morphological characteristics, anatomical characteristics, right? And also some of their cellular and biochemical characteristics, right? So when you identify an organism and when you group them, okay, you find an organism, you note down the characteristic and you match the characteristic with the pre-existing phylum. So you match it and place that particular organism in that particular group. So thus a various group or a taxon include the organism based on their similarity and differences. So like this, we see the similarities between the groups and dissimilarities between the groups, and the organism which we have identified, we have given a name, we can place them according to the similarities, okay, similarities and differences in the groups. Therefore, the biological classification helps in revealing the relationship between the various organisms. It is not only just giving the classification or the grouping of organism, it is also developing the relationship between the other organism. It means that you are studying the systematics also. It also help in making the study of organism easy and organized. So it will help you to know all the types of organism in short duration of time. So it is saving your time. It is quite organized, right? It is quite organized and it is helping in your study and knowing the different types of organisms, right? Okay. So, moving to our next question. Why are the classification system changing every now and then? This is also a very important question. Okay. So, every now and then our classification system is changing. So, millions of plants and animals and microorganisms are found on the earth, right? We are having a different millions of plants and animals and microorganisms on the earth. 1.7 to 1.8 million total number. And many of these have been identified by the scientists, while many new species are still being discovered, okay, around the world. So till date, the 1.7 to 1.8 millions of organism has been identified with the help of scientists, and still this number is still it is increasing. Means every day we are discovering more and more number of organism, number of species. Okay, so it get added in that. Now, therefore, to classify these newly discovered species, new systems of classification have to be devised every now and then. So, this classification has not been started in the recent years. It has been started in a very past, right? So, at that particular time, classification system is just based on the some of the superficial characteristics only. They are not following the biochemical, okay, characteristic. They are not following the cellular characteristics. They are not following the, you can say, the gene basis of the identification of the organism, right? So as the, you can say, the technology has been advanced, new and new technology is coming day by day, right? So we are using those technology according to their discoveries, right? So as we now see biochemical analysis. So earlier biochemical analysis were not used, but nowadays we are using that, right? We are using the numerical taxonomy. You are using the biochemical taxonomy. You are using the cellular based taxonomy, because nowadays these taxonomies, okay, these characteristic based taxonomy has now been developed as the technology has been going to in an advanced stage. So this creates the requirement to change the existing systems of classification, right? It is more like, you can say, the more precise to give the classification on the basis of the new technology rather than adapting the previous one. Okay, they just classify the organism on the basis of the morphological characteristics only, or some anatomical characteristic, but they are not following the biochemical or the cellular characteristics, or you can say the some other chemical characteristics which are present in the cell. Okay, they are not considering the metabolic activities even. But nowadays we are adapting all these things for the basis of classification, right? So this is the thing, that every time now and then the classification system has been changed as the advancement of the technology. Okay, moving to our next question. What different criteria would you choose to classify people that you meet often? Okay, so what are the different criteria? Okay, so to classify a class of 40 students, suppose in a class there are 40 students. So let us start the classification on the basis of the sexes of the student. How many students are male and how many students are female? On the basis of this, you can classify the 40 students of your class. This classification will result in the formation of two major groups, girls and boys. Okay, this is a very simple. It's very simple to understand that if you have 40 students in your class, how, on which basis you are going to classify them? So you can classify them on the basis of their sexes. Okay, now each of these two groups can be further classified on the basis of the names of the students following in this group. Okay, now every student is having their own name, so you can classify on the basis of their names. Since if it is possible that more than one student can have a particular name. Okay, so sometimes it is like this, that the students are having the same name. Okay, suppose there are three girls named with Anita, three names girl with Anita, or three boys named with Amit, or four, because Amit is a very common name. So generally in the class, we are having 3, 4 Amits in one particular class. So on the basis of the name of the student, okay, you can classify. So these names can be further divided on their surnames also. Since there is still some chances that more than one student can have the same surname. Okay, Amit Sharma. Again, Amit Sharma. Two Amit Sharmas are there. That could be possible. So Amit Sharma 1, Amit Sharma 2. Like this, we can classify. Okay. So the final level of classification will be based on their roll numbers. Okay. We can give their roll numbers. Amit Sharma 14, Amit Sharma 15. Like this, their roll number is 14 and 15. Okay. So in this way, we can classify. So this is not we are doing this is just taken as an example in a question that how to classify the organism. If you classify the number of students on basis of some characteristic like their gender or their name or their roll number. Okay, so these are the characteristics we have taken to classify the number of 40 students in a class. In the same way, this pattern can be followed to classify the organisms we see in our environment, right? Okay, moving to the next question. What do we learn from identification of individuals and populations? Okay, what do we learn from the identification of individuals and a population? You identify a individual, this particular animal, or a population of this particular animal. Okay, what do we learn from that? So the knowledge of a characteristic of an individual or its entire population. So when you give a term population, you give a term of population when you are having a number of individual of one particular species. Population of human, population of cow. So you are just counting the cow. You are not counting any other organism. So that is the population of a cow. Population means that. Okay, the knowledge of a characteristic of an individual. So if you are having one particular individual, one species, then you can note down the characteristics of that particular individual. Or if you are studying any population, then you can write down the characteristic of that particular population, right? So it helps in the identification of similarities and dissimilarities among the individual of a same kind or between the different types of organism. So in a population, only one type of individuals are there. So generally you will have more of the similarities between the organism because all the organisms are of same type. So you will have all the similarities there, right? Because similar type of species are having the same type of characteristics, right? So it helps the scientists to classify the organism in the various categories. So like this, when you are having a number of species, then you can follow the same thing. You can follow the characteristics that are similar to the organism, the characteristics that are dissimilar to the organism, right? In the population, you can see the dissimilarities also. But major, if you are same species, then they will have the similar characteristics, right? Okay. Now moving to our next question. given below the scientific name of mango. Identify the correctly written name. Mangifera indica. So this is the Mangifera indica. Okay. So the Mangifera indica, how to write this particular scientific name. So in a binomial system of nomenclature was given by the scientist Carolus Linnaeus. Okay. Very famous name in the classification. When you are studying the classification, when you are studying the taxonomy. So when you study the taxonomy, then you are studying the way of giving the name to the organism. Nomenclature, that is called as nomenclature. So here we are having one type of nomenclature that is called as binomial nomenclature, and it is the most accepted one. Now, in the binomial system of nomenclature, the generic name of a species always starts with a capital letter. Very, very important point. Genus name or the generic name, it always start with a capital letter. So here you see the Mangifera indica. So in Mangifera, it is started with the capital letter M, right? Whereas the specific name or the species name, it starts with the small letter. Okay, it start with the small letter. So indica, it should be indica with I small. Now, when you write this particular Mangifera indica on a paper with your hand, you must underline it. Okay. These are some of the convention of the binomial nomenclature system, that when you write any scientific name, the genus name and the species name should be separately underlined. And the genus first letter, that is the here an example we have taken the Mangifera. So in Mangifera, M should be capital and in indica, I should be small, right? And but when it is a printed form, then it should be in a italics. Okay. And it shows why we are keeping it. When in a handwritten, it should be underlined, and when it is a printed, it should be in a italics form. This shows that it is has been adapted from the Latin language. Okay, in Latin language, when we write, we underline, but when it is handwritten, it is a printed form, then it should be in a italics form. So this is the way to write any scientific name. Here it is asked about the mango scientific name, right? Okay. Now, this is one of the very important questions from this chapter. Define a taxon. So you must understand what is a taxon and give some examples of a taxa at a different hierarchical level. So let us see what is the answer of this. So each unit or a category of a classification is termed as a taxon. So first of all, we must know the category. Okay. So in a classification system, we are having the certain taxonomic categories. Like if we start from the lowest category, then it is a species. Then we move to the another category, that it is the genus. Then when we move to the another category, then it will be the family. Then order, then class, then phylum. And at this level, when you are following the animal kingdom, then it should be the phylum. But when you are following the plant, then it should be the division. Okay. And the highest category above the phylum and division is the kingdom. Right. So this is the taxonomic category, or you can say the hierarchy in the classification. So each unit, these are considered as a unit. A species is one unit, genus is one unit, family is another, then order, then class, then phylum, division, and then kingdom. So these are considered as a unit or a category in the classification. And this category or a rank is considered as a taxon. So species is a taxon. Genus is a taxon, right? Family is again a taxon. And every taxon is having its own characteristics. Very important point. Every taxon is having its own characteristics. It means that species will have its own characteristics, genus will have its own characteristics, family will have some own characteristics, and more of the similar characteristic we see in the case of species. But as we move above to the higher hierarchical level, then the similar characteristic will be very less. Okay. So you understand the taxon. Now each taxon represent a rank. Every taxon is represented as a rank. For example, the basic level of classification is a species. Okay, if you talk about the basic level of classification, then it is a species, followed by genus, family, order, class, phylum, or division, right? In ascending order. So we will start from the species, then comes the genus, then comes the family, order, class, okay, phylum or division. I've already told you phylum in case of animals and division in the case of plants. And at the highest level, that is the kingdom. The highest level of classification is known as the kingdom, right? So this is your answer for the define a taxon and give some taxon at the different hierarchical level. So every rank, you must remember, every rank or every category is considered as a taxon, right? Okay. So let's move to our next question. Can you identify the correct sequence of a taxonomical categories? Species, then comes order, then comes phylum, then come kingdom. And here, if we see the B1, then genus, species, order, kingdom. And C, we see the species, genus, order, and the phylum. So the correct hierarchical statement of the taxonomic categories is in the always in ascending order, always in ascending order. So species, then genus, then family, then order, then class, then phylum, then kingdom. This is, we know that. Okay. But if we see the both A and C, A and C, if you see the A, species, then comes the order. Okay. So here the genus and the family is not given there. Then comes the order. Then comes the phylum. Then comes the kingdom. It is correct, but some are missing. But still, this is in a ascending order, right? And if you see the B1, genus, then comes the species. This is wrong. Species is first and then comes the genus. So the B1 is wrong. Looking to the C1, species, then comes genus, then comes order, and then comes phylum. Again, this is also correct, but some are the missing. But yes, it is in a ascending order. So A and C represent the correct sequence of the taxonomic categories. And sequence B, if you see clearly, then the species should be followed by the genus, right? Species should be followed by the genus. Therefore, it does not represent the correct sequence. Okay, moving to our next question. Try to collect the correct accepted meaning for the word species. What is the meaning of the word species actually, and discuss with your teacher the meaning of a species in case of a higher plants and animals, know on one hand and the bacteria on the other hand. So you have to know about the species of animals, plants, and also the microorganism. Here the example is taken as a bacteria. So in biological term, the species is the basic taxonomical rank. This is the basic one. This is the lowest taxonomical rank species in the hierarchical taxonomic categories. And it can be defined as a group of similar organisms that are capable of interbreeding and under the natural condition that produce a fertile offspring. Very, very important. How we can define a species. So species can be defined as a group of similar organisms. There are some organisms in a particular group and they can interbreed. They can interbreed. It means that male and female can copulate and they can give rise to few offsprings that are fertile. that are fertile. Very important. Sometimes there is we can see the different genus can reproduce. Okay, they give birth to the young one, but they are infertile. So this is not defining the species. The species are always having always produce fertile offspring if they are a species. If they are not a species, then they will not give the fertile offspring. Okay. So therefore, a group of similar individuals that are respectively isolated from a species. Okay. They are respectively isolated. They generally don't breed with other type of species. They breed with themselves. Okay. And that is called as interbreeding. Species can also be defined as a group of individuals that share the same gene pool. Very important. The gene pool of one particular species is same. It is not different. It is same, right? So now, species higher plants and animals on the other end. So if we talk about an animal, okay, if we take the example of like lion. So lion, male and female, they can copulate and they can produce their young ones and they will be fertile. They will be fertile. In the same way, the plants, mango plant, okay, same species, they can reproduce and they can produce a young ones. Okay, in the form of fruit. In the fruit, there will be the seed, and when the seed will be sown, it will give the fertile plant. Okay, in the same way, the bacteria also. So, in this way, we can say that they are having the same gene pool. Okay, okay, here comes the next question. Define and understand the following terms. So, these are very, very important terms: phylum, class, family, order, and genus. So, let us understand and define them. So the first one is the phylum. So the phylum is the primary division of kingdom. Okay, it is a primary division of a kingdom and include one or more related classes of animals. Okay, so different classes of animals are present in one, you can say a phylum. And in plants, instead of phylum, the term division is used. So what are the phylum? It is a primary division of kingdom. So kingdom is very simple. Plant kingdom, animal kingdom. Now, when you move to next level, you are having in a plant different division. If you are following the plant, division algae, division fungi, division pteridophyta, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnosperm, angiosperms, right? Like this. Now, if you follow the animals, okay, animal kingdom. Now, inside the animal kingdom, you will have phylum, phylum Porifera, Cnidaria, Platyhelminthes, Esculenthes, okay, like so on. So that is the phylum, okay. Then, what is class? So class is again a taxonomic group consisting of one or more related order. Okay, it is covering one or more related order in them. And for example, the class Mammalia includes many orders. Class Mammalia includes many orders. Okay, so we are having the family here. Next comes the family. Family is a taxonomic group containing one or more related genera. Okay, family is having many genera in them. So if you take the genera family Solanaceae, then you are having Solanum nigrum, Solanum tuberosum, okay, Petunia plant, Datura plant, okay, all that belongs to the same family. Okay, so in plants, families are characterized on the basis of vegetative and reproductive features. This is very, very important. Okay, so till here we are taking the this characteristics. Okay, what characteristics? Vegetative and reproductive features. Next is the order. Order is a taxonomic group containing one or more families. So many families comes under one order. For example, the order carnivore include many families, Falidae, Canidae, okay? That includes in carnivore. The carnivore is the order, and Falidae and Canidae are those two families that are included in the carnivore order. So order is a taxonomic group that contain one or more families. Okay. Next is the genus. Genus is a taxonomic group including closely related species. Some of the closely related species that are aggregated together. Okay. For example, the genus Solanum includes many species such as Nigrum, Melanogena, and Tuberosum. Solanum tuberosum, Solanum nigrum, Solanum melanogena. So all are different species, but the genus is same. Solanum, right? Solanum is the common genus, but the species are different. So that is the genus. Next question. How is a key helpful in identification and classification of an organism? So key is a taxonomic aid. Okay, key is a taxonomic aid and it is used to identify plants and animals. It is a, you can say, a technique to identify the plants and animal based on their similarities and dissimilarities. And we follow that, right? We have to just see the what are the similar characteristic in these two plants and what are the dissimilar characteristics. So that is known as a key. And it represents the choice between the two opposite characters. One character is there and opposite character is the another form of character. So either the plant will have similar or dissimilar, right? So this is useful for identifying the contrasting character. So they are two contrasting character where one or character choice reject another one. So if you choose one of the character, you are rejecting the other one, right? So in contrasting character, only one will be followed. So if the entity is not already recorded, efforts are made for the first verification and reconsider its discovery before naming it. So all these things are done before the naming it, and therefore each entity can be classified as it is unknown or unknown. So whether the entity has been earlier classified or not. So whether it is a known or unknown. So last question of this chapter here. Okay, what is the question? Illustrate the taxonomical hierarchy with the suitable examples of plants and animals. So here the table below depict the taxonomic hierarchy with wheat as an example of the plant and the human as an example of an animal, right? So here we have taken the taxonomic categories here and the wheat as an example for the plant and human as an example for the animal. So taxonomic categories. First one, kingdom. So wheat belongs to the kingdom Plantae and human belongs to the animal Animalia. So let us first see the plants. Wheat, okay, kingdom Plantae, and it belongs to the division Angiosperm. Angiosperm. Class monocotyledon. It is a monocotyledonous plant. Okay. Order Poales, family Poaceae, genus Triticum, and species is the Estivum. So the scientific name of wheat is the Triticum estivum, or you can say the botanical name of the wheat is the Triticum estivum. Next is we have taken an example here, human. So if we see the different hierarchy of its taxonomic categories, then the first one is the kingdom Animalia. Human belongs to the kingdom Animalia. And the phylum, here we will use the term phylum because it is comes under the animal. So chordata, phylum chordata. Class Mammalia. Order Primata. Family Hominidae, and genus Homo, and the species is Sapiens. So this S should be small. It should not be capital. By mistake, it is capital here. It should be small. Sapiens, Homo sapiens. Okay. So this is all about this chapter. We have completed all the questions from the chapter Living Worlds. Okay. So thank you very much for attending today's session. We will meet with some another session. Okay. Till then, take care and goodbye.